everybody. Hi. Got a snack. It's special fall time goldfish crackers. Usually they're better if they're rainbow. But these are just normal ones. I'm not gonna be here for long, but I hope you guys like the video. Yumi worked really hard on it, so we hope you guys like it.
So just because other YouTubers don't share the same experiences as you, that doesn't invalidate your experiences. I just want to get that out of the way. I know that probably plenty of these things that I'm going to be saying in the video aren't going to be exactly new to any of you guys because, you know, this video's been done before by plenty of people. But there are some things that just apply to us specifically that I want to get out there, and sometimes saying things even though other people are already saying them is really important because the more often you say it, the more likely it is that the message is going to reach people. And the more likely it is that the message is going to reach someone that you can directly relate to. And if you directly relate to someone who is telling you a message, that message is going to be a lot better received. If someone like me can think this way, then I can think this way. I was only comparing myself to DID for so long. I didn't really know that there was much else to compare it to, until one day I saw the Ring system and the Alexandrite system collaborating together for a video talking about OSDD 1B. Also, I'm never gonna stop plugging those two channels, like, biggest inspirations for my channel. So right off the bat, I really liked both of their channels, and I dove into both of them individually, just to find that I really resonated with these channels a lot more than I did with, like, the entropy system, for example. And like I said in my first couple videos, I'm sure, I mentioned that I want to make this channel to help people not feel that invalidation that I felt watching other systems that I didn't relate to. I want to make it to where those who are struggling run into the right people faster. So we put together a list of things that are considerably different about our system compared to most other people's, just to show you that those differences aren't invalid, like at all. Not all systems are going to be the same. I feel like that's one thing that we as a collective like the most about the fact that systems exist, that and the fact that they also, like, help save lives. But every system is, like, really unique, and I feel like there are such beautiful things to be found in that. So the first thing that we want to mention is not having clear communication with your headmates is super normal. As an OSDD system, you'd think that we had, like, all the perks of, like, a lack of amnesia to help us, you know, have strong communication and to help us, you know, operate better. But that's not really the case for everybody. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses in their own areas, and a brain is no exception to that. Some are going to say that it does just get better as you try and work on it, which is, you know, pretty true. But for systems like ours, it's a lot more of a case of that we just communicate differently than other people. Whether it be because they simply don't express what their communication is like the way that we do, or that their communication is genuinely different, or our communication is genuinely different. Other people's experiences just tend to not be ones that we resonate with because, personally, our communication tends to be more in form of concepts, not really dialogue. We can, like, translate the concepts to a rough dialogue between alters that are talking. Most of the time it's more close to things that others would call intrusive thoughts. There are those times where, like, actual conventional dialogue can be, like, picked up between people that are, like, more towards the front. But most of the time, it's where I just have a thought that just, it didn't come from my stream of consciousness. It is just so from, like, out of left field, just outside the realm of possibility of the norm of how I think and act and behave. I believe the term thought injection or thought insertion or something like that gets thrown around. to define this, but I can't be totally sure. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, please. I think at the least it's a form of passive influence, which brings us to the next point. Having your alters mostly present through passive influence is also super normal. I want to say first that taking the front is not the thing that gives an alter value in any way. Having an alter who's not very active in your system, like in any way, like not even just fronting, does not make them less real. You vibe in the headspace if you want, chill in the back, only come to the front if you are comfortable doing so. After everything that we've gone through as systems, know that you get to make the choice of what you allow now. And if you're not comfortable fronting, don't let anyone tell you that you should front, otherwise you're not a valid member of the system. And like, if any number of system members don't front in your system, that's like okay. That's like totally fine. I think out of like the 16 like speculated members of our collective, only me and Marnie ever front independently. The other like 5 or so that ever actually front are usually just co-fronting, and most of the time it's just passive influence with us. And sometimes they're just there. And honestly, just being there is enough for us to know that, you know, they're real, they exist, they matter, they make an impact, and we love them. You know when you get like an energy when someone walks into the room, like you feel like an aura? That's kind of how we know that they're still there, even if they don't front. Sometimes all we'll feel of somebody in the system is their aura, and that's totally okay. The next thing on our list is something that we've been thinking about a lot lately, and that's the fact that we're not really going to be able to fit in like any box. Whether the box is DID or protector of a system or even normal, no one's ever going to fit perfectly into a box. It doesn't matter who you are, you will never fit perfectly into a box. So it's kind of pointless in trying to stuff yourself in there. That's something that we're kind of just learning. Labels suck, so just paying attention to the context of labels is kind of something that we would rather hold on to. Who cares whether our level of amnesia qualifies us for a DID diagnosis? Who cares if an alter might technically be too old to be considered a little? We have some amnesia. The alter is younger than the body, and we can just leave it at that and like call it a day. Just like not stress so much about it. And like that does kind of lead into the next point, which is that questioning yourself as a member of a system is also very, very normal. So speaking purely from a host's point of view, when I found out about the headmates, I was like really, really worried. Not only because like, oh, like apparently I'm living with even more stigmatized health conditions, but because I was worried that I suddenly wasn't a real person. When the others began to make their appearances and their mannerisms seemed to match up a little bit too closely with mannerisms that I had claimed as my own for the longest time, I began to wonder if I was really just another alter of the system, or if I was just like the shell that they all lived in, or like the car that they all drove. I'm not Yumi. I'm a VW bus that everybody drives and puts stickers on and crams themselves into. I try to focus on the few things that are like only me, like my physical identity. I'm the only one of the system that identifies this closely with the body. My love for my husband is another thing that's obviously pretty unique to me. And I mean, like, I guess my faith too, more or less. I just get really scared that eventually, like, an alter or two are going to waltz in and say, hey, we've been here the whole time. That was actually us. And then I'll really just be reduced to the fucking car that everybody drives instead of being Yumi. It's really hard to know when passive influence ends and Yumi begins, you know? But from what I can glean from others on YouTube, others who suffer from DID or OSDD, this is like a really normal thing to experience, apparently. Not knowing yourself at like any passing second can be a problem for us. So being certain of your long-term solid identity is something that everyone's going to have some kind of issue with, I guess, with our kinds of conditions. it can definitely lead to a lot of self-questioning. We still haven't found like the best way to deal with that. We kind of just deny, and it stays down for as long as possible. But we've learned the hard way that that is not the way to deal with our problems. So if any of you guys have any tips, please let me know, because we're really eager to help that. And you know, even if you have like a really clear sense of independence from the other members, like sometimes I can trick myself into having, sometimes you can still feel really unsure of who exactly you are. This happened and is still happening to both of the alters that we have that began as fragments. Struggling to find who they are, you know, truly discovering their potential that they have in this great wide world. Self-discovery is something that we place like a really, really high value of, like in our system. There's really nothing we love more than helping our headmates find the most fulfilling versions of their own lives. We feel so happy giving Gwen her time to crochet, and we love giving Evander time to get physical with his music. That's about all we had to say here for this video. We hope that you guys, you know, enjoyed watching, that you found this video helpful in your own lives, because that was kind of the whole point of why we made it. It was a little bit hard to get out there for some moments, but I at the very least want you guys to grow from my pain. If you guys like watching our videos and you want to learn more about us, that includes everybody, not just me, I encourage you guys to ask us questions in the comments underneath the video. Also through our social media. We have some of that. That should be at the end somewhere. Definitely in the description though. You know what's really funny? I script out these videos. Like I do full scripts, but I don't want to sound robotic, so I don't even read off of it. Like, what's the point of me making it? Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I, and probably the others, will see you soon. Blessed be you all, and have a lovely holiday season.